So, the ultimate life form. I really do enjoy Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, it's not just because, he's just black and edgy and he's so cool. Oh, look at his theme song. Look at the gun. Also, personally, I'm just going to say this right now. I think the opening to Shadow the Hedgehog is amazing. I don't care that it's cheesy. I don't care that he's using blicks. It doesn't matter to me. He looks cool. The song is blaring in the background. That's besides the point. I want to clear up the giant misconception with Shadow's character that people over there at Sega keep making. They make the same mistakes when it comes to adapting Shadow. Yes, I'm going to be using a lot of the IDW comics to convey my point a lot of the time in this video. Anyway, peace. Shadow is not evil Vegeta. He's not Vegeta at all. He isn't Super Vegeta. He isn't evil Vegeta. I think the biggest thing that irks me a little bit when it comes to people adapting Shadow is that they forget his compassion and how it overrides everything about what he is doing at that given point in time. Even though he was on his villain arc, he literally saved Rouge the Bat for nothing. He had nothing to gain. He tried to excuse it by saying, okay, I just need them emerald, shawty. You know how it is, bro. I do it for the bag, not for these women out here. Like, bro, it was crazy. And then when you even... It's so interesting because, the main part of Shadow's personality is the main part that every person gets wrong about Shadow. They literally forget that he is the most kind-hearted person in the entire Sonic franchise. I mean that. I think Shadow is the best character in all of Sonic history. And yes, this is elite level glazing. And I do not care. I'm spitting right now. Hear me out. This man lived and died for humanity. His entire life's purpose was to help humanity. He was made to help humanity. He gave his life to right the wrongs that he did. He gave his life to protect the people that took everything away from him. He literally works with them. Bro, if that ain't character development, I don't know what is. Bro, working for the people who took everything away from you is crazy. Not gonna lie to you. That takes elite level of forgiveness that our Lord teaches us every day. But moving on, it's the compassion aspect of Shadow that I like the most about him. Because it speaks to how other characters behave around him. Rouge jokes around with him and kids around with him because she knows in his heart Shadow truly does care for her and truly does take her opinion seriously. So that's why she pokes fun at him here and there all the time. Because she's probably one of the only few people who get Shadow. Most of, the perception of Shadow is what everyone else thinks about Shadow. Not what Shadow knows about himself. It isn't what Shadow really is. And Shadow knows that. He knows how he's perceived and he doesn't care. He does the right thing because it's the right thing. Even in Sonic X, they got this part right. Out of all things, Sonic X got this right. But then again, Sonic X is more or less halfway peak, besides the whole Christian. But other than that, yeah, even Sonic X get this right. Now, obviously, there's a few inconsistencies with Sonic X, but hey, we don't need to get into that. It's an adaptation for kids. So this shout out goes out to Nicholas. You said a lot of things I disagree with as far as doing damage control for Toyotaro's shitty writing. And first and foremost, he mentioned some things about, Gohan being 20-something, which is why, that's why he was able to beat these teenagers. Again, Dragon Ball fans using real-world arguments for their strongman points, which makes no sense to me because age means nothing as far as power, especially in anime. Dude, most of our main characters are freaking teenagers who overpower and surpass freaking grown men. Other than that, dude, the rest of it is, again, pretty much what you'd expect from people defending this. I'm showing it on screen so you guys can pick it apart, but other than that, peace. This was a long one. Anyway, moving on. Again, man, I'm just tired of seeing them portray Shadow like he's just Vegeta when he's nowhere near the same character. Sure, Vegeta cares for his fellow man. Sure, he's repented for his ways. Sure. At the end of the day, Vegeta's just not on the same wavelength as Shadow, not by a long shot. Shadow cares far more about his fellow man than I would say, his doppelganger, his rival, Sonic the Hedgehog. I would definitely say that. I'm not kidding. And I think it's accurate because when you look at how they interact with each other, whether it be their friends, etc., Shadow has so much more heart. He has so much more sincerity behind what he's saying. Shadow is Sonic without the ego. Sonic without the immaturity. Like he's the dark mirror of Sonic. And I wouldn't even say dark mirror at this point. I would say he is the better half. He completes Sonic. He makes Sonic a better person just by proxy of being around him. And I don't think that's a stretch by any means. I think they bounce off each other perfectly. And the thing that kind of irritates me, but kind of makes sense as far as Shadow's character, in the Sonic comics, more or less the recent stuff, I think it's the IDW comics, if I'm not mistaken, where pretty much the canon of that game is so like baffling to me. You'll never figure out if it's canon or not. I promise you, because like they'll put scenes in there to tell you which in what and where is canon. Like obviously the events of '06, Shadow, Generations, and a lot of those things are canon. But moving on past that, I just wanted to give y'all the basis for that to let y'all know why I'm talking about this obscure ass comic. But anyway, Shadow finds an amnesiac, Dr. Robotnik, and he tries to basically finish him because of all the things that Eggman did. And then, obviously Sonic and Shadow, they had their scuffle about the situation. And in this bout, right, you have Sonic trying to convince Shadow not to do it. And there's something that actually irritates me about their exchange. He's all like, "Oh, you tried to destroy us too, Shadow. So what? Are you someone who is above forgiveness?" And the thing about that makes me irritated is because that isn't really the same thing. Shadow, to his core, is a good person. Shadow, to his core, is nothing but a hero. If ands or buts about it, I don't care if you want to call him Edgy Hedgehog. He is a hero. He's not an anti-hero. He is a straight up hero. A force for good that Sonic wishes he could be. And yes, again, this is elite level glaze, but it's true. Like him saying this, like, bro, Shadow was misguided in his first appearances. Shadow was amnesiac in a lot of his other appearances. A lot of his appearances, he don't even know who he is half the time. To say that like Shadow wasn't constantly getting manipulated through every, step of the way, throughout every advantage besides Rouge the Bat, the only person who never manipulated him and always was on his side, thick and thin throughout all of it, is crazy to me. Like, Shadow isn't a bad guy. We've seen time and time again, Eggman had the chance to do better, to be better, and we've seen glimpses of the man he could be, but those were just advantageous. If it didn't benefit him at the time, of course he wasn't going to save the entire planet. He doesn't want the world to be destroyed. He wants to rule it. Eggman, to his core, is a villain. He is, to the very shell of his DNA, pun intended, he is just a force of destruction. And the Shadow recognizes that. He recognizes the harm that Eggman could cause to the world that he has chosen to protect for Maria and for his own reasons and goals. He cares for the people of this world. Even if the world turns against him, he will fight for it. This man is nowhere near a anti-hero and edgelord. No, just because he's black and red doesn't make him a villain, dude. Like, bro, Sega, get your shit together. Fans, please, for the love of God, get your shit together. This is kind of why I prefer Prime's adaptation of Shadow, because he isn't just, "I am the ultimate life form. I will destroy the world. You trust no one." Well, he was a little bit like, "I trust no one," and all those other things. But there was a reason behind it. On the surface, it seems like, oh, he just wants to do this and that and the third. But he is ready to literally lay down his life to save Sonic's life. He cares for Sonic. He tries to help Sonic throughout season 2 and season 1. And season 3. I think it's 3 seasons. But that's besides the point. Again, man, I just think the Shadow gets the shit in his stick as far as like his adaptations, bro. Like, bro, there's barely been good adaptations of freaking Shadow because they just make him Vegeta. Like, literally, they just make him Vegeta. But that's not his character. He's so much more than a freaking Vegeta clone. He's so much more than a Shadow freaking, "Oh, I am all of me." Like, you know what I mean? Great song still. But yeah, you get the point. Anyway, peace.